Well, hello and welcome back to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co-host Tracy.
Hey, y'all.
So we
Or should
were
I say,
gone.
hola ustedes. Hi. Hold on, how we go? Hola, y'all. I got my Spanglish shirt on, so.
Oh, why are you trying to butcher? I was like, that's so disrespectful. What is happening? Okay. Well, as I was saying, before, Tracy broke out in her Spanglish. Good one, girl. You had me. I thought we was gonna have to do some apologies. But anyway, I was saying we were out last week because I started out Mother's Day not wanting to do anything for Mother's Day, and that was my plan. I wanted to chill, and my kids had other ideas, so I ended up having a great Mother's Day, and I was out all day, and did not make it in time to record or upload anything. So my apologies.
And we got cussed out. So if y'all were cussing us out as well at your house, trust me, other people just went straight to our text messages and cussed us out there. So don't even worry about it. We understand y'all's mad about that. But we're
So,
back.
but we're back. We're back, and you'd think we would have had a whole lot prepared, but no, we had some times this week. We've been very busy.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And so tell us about your Mother's Day. You planned on doing nothing, but then dun
So
dun
after I
dun.
started out my Mother's Day doing a deep clean, now I'm going to tell this story, but afterwards because then I don't want to get sidetracked. But so we ended up going to lunch, going to my parents' house. We had dinner at my parents' house, and so it was just a long family day. And I saw a couple of my aunts and everything. So it was just a long family day, but it was really good. And I am very blessed to have the mom that I have. And I hope that my children feel that they are blessed to have the mom in me.
And I know, I'm sure they are. And I know you love your mom to pieces. So I'm sure that
Mhm.
was like, it ended up exactly how it was supposed to for you and your
Mhm.
fam. So.
Mhm. So, and you, what you end up doing with your mom?
So the way my mom is set up, she never wants to do things on the day you're supposed to do them.
I'm the same way.
She's always like, well, it's going to be really busy that day, so let's just push it out. So she's always trying to push something out. And that
Mhm.
that goes for birthdays, Mother's Day, Christmas. She would try to celebrate it on a whole other day.
That's
So
so funny.
we had a plan, girl. The plan
Mhm.
was that we were on May 9th, which was the day before Mother's Day, going to go see Michael Jackson with my
Oh,
mom.
okay.
We were gonna treat it a Lux level, me and my daughter. It was gonna be, mother, daughter, granddaughter day.
Mhm.
My mom decides that since her coworkers are all calling out and she's like the most reliable one at work, 81 years
Mhm.
old, still
Oh
working.
my God, it still blows my mind. But go ahead.
She ended up covering for coworkers, so she wasn't available on Saturday, and then she didn't want to do anything on Sunday. So
Mhm.
my daughter and I were like, we going to see Michael, ma'am. Like, we love you and everything, but we still going to
I know.
see,
I
we going to
know.
see MJ.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then the
Oh,
day,
after that, you got to give me the breakdown of Michael. So we push
oh,
that. So
yes,
go
I
ahead.
will.
Mhm.
And then on Friday, the Friday before, which was May 8th, my husband was like, why don't we do our Mother's Day, me and you, tonight? So
Mhm.
we went to Los Andes and we had
Mhm.
an amazing Peruvian meal. It was fabulous. I want to shout out our waiters at Los
Okay.
Andes.
Mhm.
Franklin, who was our waiter on Friday night, the 8th, and Mamadou, who was our waiter the last time we went there on April 8th, which was my birthday. So I think we need to go every 8th of the month. We need to go to Los Andes. But anyway, those guys are so professional, so kind. Like they just make you, the food is fabulous. But
Mhm.
sometimes service
Yeah.
in restaurants is not that great. I went out last night to a
Mhm.
restaurant on Atwell's Ave, which I'm not gonna name. I'll
Oh,
tell
okay.
you off the
Okay.
podcast and on Yelp. Um,
Mhm.
Not the
I
business.
always say, please leave a review because it really helps other people make their decisions about going to a hotel, going to, a restaurant, car service, whatever. You leave a review. So good.
That food was so disappointing last night that
Mhm.
I went to another restaurant and ordered a whole other meal after I left there. That's
Really?
how bad it was. The
It was
same
just
like
you or
no, I went with my
with your husband?
girlfriend. We
Oh,
went
okay. What?
because last
That's
night
crazy. Okay, go ahead. What happened
last
last
night
night?
I saw Michael for the second time with my friends. We went and saw Michael, so I saw it
Uh-huh.
2 times. I could tell you
Mhm.
about it 2 different kind of ways. And then we started off on Atwell's, went to a restaurant that
Mhm.
shall remain nameless, and then we went after that to Joro, where I had an
I've heard
order
good things about them. Mhm.
amazing order of wings and cornbread that I highly
Mhm.
recommend. So and drinks bomb popping at Joro, loved it. And the DJ was just going in. But
Mhm.
I don't know how we got here. We were talking about Mother's Day, but that's
You said well,
basically
yeah.
but yeah, great Mother's Day. My
Mhm.
children, oh my God. So on Mother's Day, I was like, I don't want to do anything. I literally sat in the recliner, had my feet up most of the day, watched TV, played games on my tablet. And my children just came and brought me artwork and presents and food.
Mhm.
I didn't have to make a meal for myself all day on Mother's Day. The food was just being brought to me. And I was in my pajamas all day. Loved it. Mwah, chef's kiss. Do it again. I'll
Yeah.
do it again next year.
That was my plan to be but you know what? Actually, I started out the day Saturday, I started a deep clean.
Mm.
And I started because and this is the story I was gonna tell earlier. Um, in my front window where my youngest son used to sleep, uh, a bird had, built a nest in there, and that was 2 summers ago. She had built a nest in there, laid her little eggs. The eggs, cracked, they came out. We watched all of this, and then, when they got of age, flying them out of the nest, and she would come back and do it one by one. Jabril and I was, like, teary-eyed over those damn birds. So, I started the deep clean because I had to do that window and get rid of the nest and, like, steamed I cleaned the hell out of this house on Saturday. I'm still looking at people funny. Don't even dare think about stepping on my floor with your shoes on because
I
I
know
did
that's right.
everything. So that's how I started the day. But yeah, so it was a good Mother's Day.
No, I love that. That sounds
Hmm.
awesome. Now, did I ever tell you our bird's nest story?
No.
So we also have a similar story, but we weren't as teary-eyed as you the first year that it happened. So
Uh-huh.
it might have been last year or the year before. A mama bird built a nest on our ring floodlight. So the floodlight that's over our back
Oh.
door, she started
Mm-hmm.
building this nest, and I'm like, "No, ma'am, you gotta go," because
Mm-hmm.
what she was doing was to protect her eggs, she would fly over to a nearby tree or the roof of the neighboring house to watch. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime that anyone would get near her
Oh,
nest,
okay.
which
Mm-hmm.
going in and out the door, she's swooping down trying to kill people. So I told Morel, I'm like, I'm sorry, you gotta dismantle this. Take homegirl's nest out of here. Cause she hadn't laid any eggs in it yet. It was just the nest. I'm like, she's gonna have to
Oh,
start.
I thought the eggs were in there.
No, I was like,
Okay.
she's gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to start over.
Mm-hmm.
So, she was keeping watch. So anyway, he took it down and he got so sick. He got so sick after he took that bird's nest down. So she started another one. I don't know if it's the same bird. Started building another nest this year. He was like, "I'm not touching it." He was like, "Let her do her thing," because even though he took it down the
Mm-hmm.
last time he got sick, and she rebuilt it in the same place.
She was
And
determined.
then we saw the little birds peeping out the little heads, beep, beep, beep,
Mhm,
beep, beep, and the mother, and we saw all of that, but it was up above us, so we didn't get like
mhm.
a good view of it like
Yeah,
you
I was
probably
really
did.
surprised that she built it in the window, and it's like, it's not a high window, it was, pretty low,
And it
but
looks just like the little bird's nest you see on a cartoon. Like I'm like, she got all the little twigs
yeah.
and twig by twig, and she built it, and they like I think it's the
I didn't
same
see her
bird.
build it. I was just surprised that it was, like, over I guess maybe over a couple of weeks or whatever, but he's not noticing. I definitely didn't notice it. But I didn't take it down. So last I told you that was 2 years ago. So last summer, I was gonna clean out that window and take the nest out, and I'm like, "But what if she comes back?" And I'm saying it to myself. I'm like, "She don't pay no rent. This is not a maternity ward. I am cleaning it this year. Last year, I saved it for you. You didn't come back. This year, it has to go."
Isn't that so interesting though? But so how I knew she was watching over them. So she wasn't doing that when she first built it. So we took it down, she rebuilt it. Then when she put the eggs in there, that's when she was doing her swooping and sweeping and whatnot. So I might have mixed up my timeline on it, but she very clearly would go and stand watch nearby to make sure nothing bad was happening. But if she thought the bird babies were in danger, she would come flying by, and
Oh,
I'm like,
okay. So
"Now we gotta
okay.
understand it.
Yeah.
Now she just
y
she gets it."
yeah.
We like, "Hey, what's up, birds? See them?" And
Uh-huh.
so I haven't seen, I haven't heard the baby birds yet, or they haven't come out of their eggs yet, but she's definitely, like,
So she
getting to that
definitely
point.
comes back. Yeah, ours did not. I don't know why. Well, I don't feel bad because I got too much going on. I was out here feeding the birds and the squirrel. It's just one squirrel. So I throw bread into the street, and then he's the first one, boom, down the hill. I'm like, "Damn, you should see me come out the door." And then the birds, and I've been feeding them like the last couple of weeks, and I feel like an old lady in a park
Oh,
who's
with the
feeding the
bread.
birds.
I was big, but I don't know if you've been to Aldi lately. They have all this lawn and garden stuff, and they have like
Mhm.
all these bird feeders that look like different shapes. Like one looks like a patio chair, like the Adirondack chairs, and another one looks like
Oh,
a
okay, uh-huh.
little
No, I
sofa. I'm
didn't
like, oh
see
my!
it.
I was like, you know what? We might as well. You can't beat them. Might as well join them.
Mhm.
We're gonna get some of the little bird
You
stuff.
get it?
Maybe we'll start bird watching. Who knows?
I mean, it's not just the birds, it's all of them out here. I mean, like I said, the mole, the red fox, I think the coyote's gone, and then you have the squirrel. I feel like it's one damn squirrel, but anyway, it could be more. But that and then the
Yeah.
birds, they make you feel, I don't know, so connected in a way, to nature, especially as you let them do their thing. And I hate have my neighbors are not like that anymore, but I had some before, like, "Oh my God, there's a fox and blah blah. I'm calling animal control." We are the ones that are,
We're
and you
on their
have
space.
eroded on their space, and then you want to call animal control. Anywho,
Yeah. Nature fought back on my husband and was like, "Oh, we got something for you. You
mm,
cannot be
that's weird.
disrupting the ecosystem." So he's like, "I'm not touching it this year. Let them be."
Mm,
And one day I came home from work and there was a big raccoon in the backyard chilling, and he was having a good time back there. And
mm.
I was like, "Eh, I guess I'm not about to fight with you. I'm going in the house." So
I know I hate raccoons though, but what are you gonna
they don't
do?
bother my trash though. They can't
They
get
don't bother they have never bothered my trash. I mean, they probably try to because 'cause they climb up on stuff, but I've never had, like, overturned, trash. I just the way they look, they scare the hell out of me.
I see, I don't mind the
Them and the
raccoon.
possums.
I think no, possum, now that's a creature I don't mess with,
Yeah,
okay?
that's,
I
and
I
I had
do not like
yeah,
those.
yeah, so but a raccoon, no. You said they're cute?
They're so
No.
cute, but,
And
so
big rats.
thinking about no, a rat is a daggone rat,
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
think
I apologize, raccoons.
but
Ugh.
thinking about these mother birds just like doing all this work to build a nest, because the nests are pretty substantial. So it's like they get one little twig and one little piece of string and one little this, and they're just doing like it's a lot of work to build that nest, a lot of flying back and forth. Then they got to like lay the eggs and they got to sit on the eggs and keep them warm. And then they got to help them come out the egg. Then they got to pick them up and fling them out of the nest. Like all of this stuff, right, is just human and animal instinct, you would think, right? Nurturing, taking care of your babies, all that stuff. And so while we had these amazing Mother's Days, we have been, well, I know personally, people have been approaching me about the subject of toxic moms. And I was like, we got to talk about it on the pod. Someone actually asked me to talk about it on the podcast. And I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? Let's
Oh,
go.
did they have a story?
So one a friend of mine, I can actually say her name, Leela. She's my niece's mom. She was saying that, she has a great relationship with my niece, Nyla.
Mhm.
Nyla and her, they just have a great mother daughter dynamic. And so Leela was on social media one day and she just saw this girl ranting about how horrible her mother was. And then it was like more people in the comments saying, like, yeah, my mother was terrible. And, you know, my mom wasn't shit, like crazy stuff in the comments. And Little was like, I can't believe that this is a real thing, that people's moms are bad. I'm like, yeah, sometimes people have bad moms.
Mhm.
And after she said it to me and showed me the thing on Instagram, someone else brought the subject up and was like, yeah, because, I try to be a better mom because my mom was not great to me. And I was like, wow,
Mhm.
this is many people's story. It's not just, it's great to be able to say Mother's Day was great. I had a great Mother's Day. I'm a good mom. My mom's a good mom. Or my mom taught me this and that. Some people don't have that experience. So, it's interesting to talk about because there's a lot of judgment too. So people coming out saying, well, why would you talk bad about your own mother?
Mhm.
Sometimes people's moms are terrible though. And that's just real. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if you're lucky, if you're in that situation, you find an alternative, a mother figure that steps in. And that's what many women have, and men too, have found that if their parent, particularly their mom, who you expect your mom to be better than your dad. I don't know why. You
Mhm.
do. I mean, obviously it's good to have a great father, but you expect of all people, your mom to be the best one, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes people just don't have a maternal instinct and it shows. It shows when they put themselves over their children in a way that's detrimental to the child. And when I
Mhm.
say child, I mean people who are adults now, but it's still your child. Like I would do anything for my kids. I would do so many, I would make and I have made many sacrifices for them. But I never minded. I always wanted the best for my kids, but some
Mhm.
some people don't.
And that's why I'm always saying that adoption should be a conversation that everybody should have because not everyone wants to be a parent. Not everybody has that as a dream. And so they should have the option, not only the option of abortion, I don't wanna get into those things, but just, the options to do something else without feeling shame from other people. Because if you have an abortion, people are shaming you. If you
Mhm,
keep the child and you can't take care of it and can't find a job, then people are shaming you. And then if you decide to give the child up for adoption because, there are people out there who are already prepared, already, financially, astute and they can take care of your child, you get shamed. So you
mhm.
constantly, no matter what you do, unless you're in a great marriage or a situation, culturally or whatever, you get shamed on these things, and adoption should always be part of the conversation.
Absolutely, adoption, birth control, all of those
Mhm.
things and sometimes, unfortunately, people have a pregnancy, see it through fruition, and then decide they don't wanna be a mom. That's another thing that,
Mhm.
and I don't wanna
And
use it.
they should be able to walk away.
They should, and I don't wanna use, postpartum as a crutch for anything, but some
Mhm.
women really do have postpartum that I feel like maybe doesn't go away. Like, it starts and they either don't get the care for it or it just lingers and that sentiment stays,
Mhm.
throughout, and, I even think about I don't know if you watch the 90-day shows, like 90 Day Fiancé, but
I just started.
there's this one woman who lives in
Mhm.
California. It's Jamal's mom. What is that lady's name?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know if I know that. See, I just started this season, I'm
Jamal is
saying.
so handsome though. And so
Mhm.
Jamal is this mixed race guy. His mom is a white woman and she married a man in Nigeria. So she was part of the original 90 Day cast like back in the day she married
Okay.
and the marriage didn't work out. And so the relationship that Jamal and his mother have is so good because she seems like she did a great job raising him, even though he's a black man. He understands he's a black man, and he just looks like he's so well-rounded, so put together. Bombshell disclosure comes out during the 90 Day Single Life episodes that she's been in recently. She has two children that she gave up for adoption before Jamal was born.
Mm, hmm,
But
okay.
but that's not the kicker. The kicker is they all have the same father.
Wow, so they're full bro wait, so what happened? Why did she do that?
So she was in the military, and I believe her
Okay,
partner was also in the military.
so he's the youngest that she
He's
kept.
the baby.
Okay, so I kinda get it
He's
then.
the baby.
Alright.
So
Mhm,
she
mhm.
had her oldest son, um, and then she just was like, I can't do this. Gave him up, got pregnant again, had a daughter, tried to deal with that, couldn't wrap her head around it, gave her up for adoption and kept Jamal. And she didn't tell him until like last year. And he's
And how
grown.
old he's
He's
gr
so probably like 28 years old, 29, 30 years old. He's older. And
oh,
he was pissed. You hear me? That boy was hot.
uh, yeah, because that's a big one to keep from your kids. They're full-blooded siblings,
That
you
was
know?
like I didn't know what to do with that. And at first I wanted to judge her. And then I said, you
Mhm.
know what? Let me not judge this lady
Yeah,
because
I'm not judging her, I'm judging her not telling the story, I get
she
it,
was
but
ashamed. It was shame. That woman is so ashamed of her actions.
yeah, I can
And
imagine.
yeah, and so she reconnected with her biological son. He found her using her older biological son. He found her using Ancestry. Of course, like these DNA tests is
Mhm,
just airing people out. So they connected. She realized she has a grandson. She has grandchildren. So
mhm.
she's starting to try to build that relationship. And he is so forgiving of his mother because he had a good upbringing and
Yeah.
it worked out for him because of adoption,
Mhm.
and he married a black woman. They have these beautiful children, and so now they're getting to know each other, but the daughter is still out there. So I
They
don't
haven't
know.
connected with her
Not
or
yet. Not yet.
okay.
Not that I know of, unless they're gonna, use it
Mhm,
for a show or something, for a new 90-day show they're probably
mhm.
gonna do. But yeah, she's still trying to find the daughter. She has so much guilt about whether or not her children had good lives or not. But
Yeah,
Jamal has like survivor's remorse, and he's taking it out on
okay.
his mother. So
I mean, I get it. She was wrong to keep that secret. I feel like, that's just too close. I mean, at a time when he could understand, at least maybe by the time he's I don't know. I don't know what's a good
she
age
kept
because
wanting to
it
tell
depends
him.
on the maturity of the child. So I can't say an age. But and I get it, and then also too, he needs to be a little bit more forgiving for the reason that you said, she was embarrassed, and when you build up something in your head, as irrational as it might be to someone else, it's very rational to you, and I can get her being embarrassed and not wanting to go back into her past. So, that's a hard one, so
Yeah.
he you have to show her some grace. You had a very good life. She knew specifically that she was not able to handle the other 2, and there's no harm on that.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't know, what made her keep Jamal. She didn't really say. Um, but part of me was judging her because I'm like, is it because they're black? Because I'm just like, I don't why? Why?
but she kept having I don't think she was thinking about them being black because she kept having them. She would have stopped herself from the first one, right? I don't know,
I
but I
hope
don't know
so.
her.
She seems like a nice enough woman, and she definitely loves herself a black man because she married a black man on 90 Day, and then on the single life, she started dating a black man that lives in London, England. He's of
Mhm.
Jamaican descent. And she was so scared to tell him because this man she started dating, he sacrificed a lot and he raised his daughters.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, so she was just like, "Oh my god, he's gonna think I'm the worst
Yeah.
woman," and she told him, and he was like, "Yeah, that's your past."
Mhm.
He seems like such a nice man. I'm like, "Oh my god, they would make a wonderful couple." So,
That's not this new season though. That's
it's
another
it's the
season?
single
Oh,
life.
the single, okay, yeah, I forget there's so many,
Yeah, in the 90-day verse, but
universes in these things. Oh
I
goodness.
I'm here for all of
Mhm.
it.
I
So,
just started watching it. So,
what did you
it's only one episode
of this season, or did you start
this
from the
season.
beginning? Yeah.
I just started this season because it just popped on. So I said, "Let me oh, we can discuss it one day."
Yeah, the bridal shop lady and the Dominican man, she works for Kleinfeld.
Oh, yeah, lady. That's a mess. The Holy Ghost lady is a hot mess.
My god, listen, it's already good. Episode
Mhm.
1, it's already I can't wait, but I think she's gonna do really well connecting with the Nigerian guy's family if they're super religious too, because sometimes
Oh,
that's a thing, so they'll probably be like peas in a pod, girl. They'll probably be
yeah.
the couple that lasts. So,
Mm. Yeah, ugh, anyway.
but
But
yeah.
yes, I did start watching. Well, that's an interesting story. I mean, I know we said we were gonna talk about, like, horrible moms or whatever. I can't think of I remember somebody telling me a couple of stories not too long ago. I had I'm sorry, I blanked out. You know why?
Why?
Anyway, what was I saying?
You had a story.
Did I have a story?
You said you have a so because you were trying to think of, like, some examples of these bad moms. If you wanted to marinate on it, I could tell you one that I know
Go
happened.
ahead and tell it because I can't think of it.
So, I know a mother and daughter, and the daughter's about my age, and the mom is obviously old enough to be her mom, so at least 19 years older than her. So they're
Mhm.
you know, I don't know when her mom had her, but I remember the daughter got engaged. And the mother made it her business to get married before her daughter. Like, she was also seeing someone, and
Mhm.
she rushed to get married before her daughter. It became a competition. I was like, "That is crazy train to me that you're
Mhm.
competing with your own daughter." I can't even
Oh, I hear that story a lot though.
fathom
Mhm.
I can't fathom that.
Yeah, I can't fathom because I ain't winning, so why would I compete when I'm gonna fucking lose? No sir.
But it's crazy that you're
Mhm.
trying like, it's this effort to one up your own
Yeah.
kid, son, daughter, whatever, like, that's crazy to me that you find your child to be your competition. I can't even imagine because, like you said, it's not even it shouldn't be a competition, but
Mm-mm.
it's like you should always want your child to come out on top. That's the way I
Mm,
feel. I'd be
exactly.
focused trying to make sure my daughter has the most amazing experience and the best wedding for her, all of that stuff. I have another example I can give you
Oh,
of
damn.
a wedding
Uh-huh.
that I recently attended, and the groom's mother was not invited, and she did not come.
I mean, it could be a mother-in-law issue, and it could be a daughter-in-law issue, or a son-in-law issue. It might not be her being the bad guy.
It
In this
I believe it's all of those things,
okay. Mhm.
and I'm kinda on the groom's side. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay, is that his mom?
Yeah,
And you
I'm on
that's
his side when it comes to yeah, she might not have needed to be there.
oh, okay. Now, if a child says that their own parent doesn't deserve to be there or whatever, I'm 100% behind them.
Yep.
So, it is what it is, but I also know too that sometimes the mother-in-law is not the issue, but that's a whole nother story. We're talking about mothers,
Yeah, and
not mother-in-law.
I had a really great mother-in-law, and grateful that I had a wonderful mother-in-law because my husband is a product of his upbringing. And so sometimes a mother can love her son, but not accept her son moving on to
Mhm.
get married and have a life beyond her. And my mother-in-law was so welcoming and so warm. And we spent a lot of time together when my husband wasn't even around. And
Mhm.
she let it be known, okay, if y'all break up, you still my daughter-in-law. That's never gonna change. So she always did, like,
Mhm.
she just always was like that. But yeah, there sometimes there are bad mothers-in-law and things like that, but going no contact with your mom is just a whole other
Yeah.
that's just a whole nother level. But there are people who really need to do it because their moms are literally that toxic, like, they're that bad. And so, yeah, there are some stories out there, definitely, experiences. I'm sure there's more. Did you find anything on Reddit in your research?
I did not go to Reddit. I started to go to Reddit, and then somebody called me, and then I ended up talking on the phone, so, no, I did not find any, so I'm sorry, I can't even contribute a bad story. I
But
don't
that's
I
good. That's good that you don't know too many of them, because we hope that this is an anomaly. It doesn't happen very often. We hope it I think the truth is that most moms really do love their children, and, even if the relationship's not perfect, cuz it's not going to be perfect. There are moments your kids are going to hate you when you're being a great mom because you're
Mhm,
being a great mom, right?
mhm.
But this is something else that we're talking about. We're talking about moms like deliberately hurting their children's feelings, hurting them physically, putting other partners above them. I know a woman who put her kids out of her home because she married a man and he was like, "These kids gotta go." And she was like, "Well, y'all have to leave because
How
I'm married."
old were they?
They were like teens. They were like late teens. They weren't ready to move out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, I mean, you're not gonna tell me who can be in my house, but my thing is, I mean, I how did she justify? Just because he didn't want them there?
Yep.
You do hear a lot. You do hear a lot of stories like that about people who will just turn their kids over. I think that I was just reading in my cousin Mecca's Prime page that there was this woman who pimped out her 5-year-old
Oh
baby
my god.
to her boyfriend for what was it, like $2,000.
That's so sick.
Yeah. So you got some disgusting disgusting women who don't need to be, disgusting fathers that don't need to be. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I just read that earlier. So
Yeah.
anyway.
I
Oh,
think
that's
there are some cases though where people, if you have an estrangement from your mom and it's something that was like that's fixable, I think people should try to make an effort to fix it, or at least talk to a professional about it. Because if you stop talking to your parent, particularly your mother, I feel like there's a conversation with a professional that needs to be had, one way or the other, whether you're right, you're wrong,
yeah.
or somewhere in the middle. That's a break. I think that is a difficult one, when you decide to make it.
Yeah.
Um, it it definitely is something that if you can mend it, try to. I'm trying to just do better at calling my mom every day. I used to call her every day, but she got too busy for me at one point where I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop calling her because I call her and she's like, I gotta call you back. And I'm like, all right, ma'am. So busy, but it's good to check in on your family, not, your mom included, but um yeah, I'm just like, I think about where would I be if I didn't have my mom. Like,
Yeah.
growing up, there were so
Mm,
many times that so many things she taught me, so many times she saved my hide. Now, do she get on my nerves sometimes? Yes, she does. But, I get on her nerves too. So it's all good, but never to a point where I'm like, I'm not speaking to her.
mhm.
And I'm going no contact. Like, I can't even fathom never
And I
speaking
think that
again.
goes to show, like you said, because it's such that's your first relationship, that before you even knew what a relationship was, um, you'd have to have done something really toxic for, I think, for your kids to be like, no contact. And
Yeah.
I think most kids, unless you're like physically and like really mentally abusive, will find room to forgive you if you apologize, and you can grow from there. If you do the healing that you need to be a better person and a better parent, and if you did that work, most kids will forgive that because they want to have that connection back, you know? Unless, like I said, you were like really physically or mentally abusive. I saw a video of this woman who caught her son and his girlfriend in the bed, and I saw it on
Mm,
Threads, and I was like, the way she first of all, she went in and she called them all kinda MFers, called the girl a beast
my
so many
God.
times. She really went after the girl more so than her own son, and I'm saying, I can see somebody cutting off a relationship with that woman. And you see a lot of times, like, you'll hear how some women talk to their children. Like, they are not one of your friends where you can just throw all the F bombs and call them MFers and really gutter, mean
Yeah.
spirited speech to their own children. And I could just see them cutting them off.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, talking to your kid, and then, but someone like that, it's like, why are you even blaming this little girl? Your son knows, he knows the rules of the house.
They were
She's
in
a
a bunk
guest.
bed. It was a bunk bed for not even big kids, it was for little kids, like the white ones that are just, like, all flat, they look like play school houses or something.
My
Yeah.
God. But yeah, I think another thing that I don't like, and this to me is toxic mom behavior, is people saying, "Okay, you're 18 now. You gotta, you
Oh,
gotta get
that's
out."
this
Like, I feel like
how?
that's a terrible toxic mom trait, to put your children out just because they turned 18. I'm like, and I hear it so much, and I'm like, where are they going? Where's your kid going?
At 18 years old. That's cra yeah, I don't really hear it as much, but I know what you're talking about.
And so there's the whole thing, well, you're either gonna work or you're gonna go to school. Okay, those are the two options.
Mhm.
Didn't so what are you doing to help them get to the point, whatever point they're gonna go? If college is not for them, are you
Mhm.
helping them apply to the post office? If what are their options? Like, to get out? That is has always been crazy to me,
Yeah.
to put your
Yeah.
kids out just because they've become quote unquote an adult at 18 years of age. And I feel like it's not growing up. When I was coming up, it wasn't that uncommon for people to put their kids out when they turned 18.
Wow. Oof, I don't think I've ever known anybody or heard any stories, but anybody that I would know have had that happen, but I do recall it being, big whispering, like, around that's what, a lot of people did, especially when I moved to the South. They were saying that, they got the boot at 18 years old, and that just seems cruel and unusual punishment for no reason because there's no way that if you couldn't support yourself at 18 years old, how are you gonna throw your child out and expect them, or why would you want them to suffer,
But
you
it's
know?
almost like, you think about that mama bird analogy, right? It's like, okay, I fed you, I this, that, and this, and now I'm throwing you out of the nest. Like, I think people really think that's what they're doing, is like, I'm throwing you out there to the wolves, to you can fly, because you're just gonna make it because I put you out and you don't have a choice. But it's like, what is there, what's the in between them finding the thing
Yeah.
and being put out of your home? Like, that's now. Granted, I know, some parents are like, I will only tolerate certain things, like, you're not gonna disrespect me in my home or whatever. I understand that, but still, to me, that's like a few conversations before get out of my house. Like, that's
Th
just crazy to me.
yeah, they need a plan, you need a plan. I just throwing somebody out, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, like, do they say I mean, like, what kinda job does your kid have at 18 years old that you're saying that they can afford rent,
Not in
food?
2026.
Yeah, definitely not now. Oh my goodness. I mean, have you filled up your car this week?
Okay, so people who live in Mass, gas at Shell is 4.25 a gallon. In Canton, I don't know if it's gonna be that tomorrow, but if you
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty
if
decent.
you're hearing this, that's good for Shell. That is an amazing price. I think I paid 4.65 for Sunoco
Mhm.
earlier today because I went to the Cape. So speaking of Mother's Day, I went to Consciously Lisa's Mother's Day celebration, her tea party today, and that was really sweet. There was so many moms and mother figures with
Mhm.
their daughters and their nieces or whatever. It was so sweet and so nice.
Oh, that's good. That
Yeah.
I saw it online and then I missed the date, but that sounds good.
Yeah, and then beautiful jewelry,
Oh yeah, because she sells jewelry
her
now.
jewelry
Makes
line,
jewelry.
yes, it is fantastic. My daughter saw some things that she
Mhm.
liked, so I'm gonna surprise her for her birthday. I'm gonna order some of the things that she liked, and then there's another event coming up on May 30th. I believe the location is Curly Q. I'll repost it, but,
Mhm.
there's going to be a jewelry party there, and they're gonna have the charm bracelets with charms and necklaces. So, I'm very excited to attend that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, congratulations to Lisa. Because is that her mother-in-law's B and Airbnb? Not Airbnb, but bread and breakfast.
Yeah, it's a bed and breakfast and it is fabulous. Like it is a
Mhm.
must see. Like seriously, it is a must see because I really was like, "Can I stay here tonight?" I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go home. I was like, my daughter was like, "You need to have another you need to have an event here." I'm like, "Why are you running my pockets? Talking about what
Mhm.
kind of a
Mhm.
thing I need to do. I like being a guest, okay?" And we had like the tier of the really beautiful hors d'oeuvres, not hors d'oeuvres, what do
Mhm.
you call them? Little crudité or whatever, the
Oh,
little
yeah, the
sandwiches.
little, yeah.
And it was a really cool Caribbean theme. So it
Mhm.
was there was a jerk chicken slider, there was a little kebab with fruit on it that had mango and melon and some other stuff. Then there was what else did they have? Oh, a cubano. So I
Mhm.
I didn't eat it because it was pork, but it looked
Pork, yeah.
really amazing.
Mhm.
So it was just like it was all so delicious. And these coconut, you would have loved it. Toasted coconut little cakes on top with this cream. Delicious.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yep.
I know. I mean, this is a tea, but of course, I mean, they usually have Mother's Day teas, but my mother has been to like 3 teas in the last few weeks. I'm like, is that a Massachusetts thing now? That's like, we are gonna do tea because we're gonna be 250 years old.
Right, but at a black tea house
Where's the
felt
tea?
so good. Felt so good at a black tea house, to
Mhm,
be able to
mhm,
do that. And so it's the grounds are absolutely stunning. I could see someone getting married there. I could see someone having a baby shower there. But if you just want to stay on Yarmouth and do a bed and breakfast, you can do that too. So yeah, it was really cool.
mhm.
I'm glad that I went. So
Yeah,
very
that sounds
well
like a
attended.
nice day for you and your daughter.
Yes.
Oh, what else I do this week? Oh, I mean, this is not
You're
anything
like,
I really
oh.
did, but I participated in. So I participated in 2 national NAACP calls. No, it's not NAACP anymore, it's NAACP.
Why?
That's
Okay, go ahead. I'm not even gonna derail the conversation because I've noticed
but
that
the look on your face.
because I've noticed the slight change and I'm like, I don't go ahead. Cause
I don't know why.
you were saying something very important and I can
Okay. Well, it was a part of a long week of, like, being at the state house and then being on these calls. So, I was on this call with the national call with the, NAACP about the Voters' Rights Act and what the Supreme Court did
okay.
last, 2 weeks ago now by gutting Section 5 and Section 2, basically giving us no recourse, we can intimidation at the poll tax, whatever the state wants to do, they can do, and they've already started redistricting areas in the South. They
Tennessee very
not just
specifically has been, like, spearheading efforts to really
But it's
gerrymander
all of them.
and be
They
disruptive.
brought on people from Mississippi. They're
Virginia
having a
too.
rally this
Yeah.
week. They had people on from Alabama telling about what their as soon as the decision was made, they said those white people collected themselves expeditiously and they came out immediately to get rid of the votes in those black areas. And so it was Louisiana on the call, Alabama, Mississippi, not Texas and North Carolina.
Mm.
And just how quickly that they are moving. You know how we always have
Which
that
tells
saying,
you what
stay
we already
ready
know.
so you don't have to get ready. You know how people say that? That's what we need to think of going forward because they've been ready since the Civil War, since 1965.
Yeah, that
Civil War, but when we got those rights in 1965, they really started coordinating. It was a long process, but they got here.
and you got Clarence Thomas over there not helping, being the
Oh,
worst.
no, he
I've
said that they should have gutted everything. It should have never been a law or an amendment. He's a piece of
trash.
trash. Yeah, yeah, it was the call itself was very depressing. I I they tried to, like, inspire at the end, but and they did. They had some really great, speakers, but just hearing how in just what, 60 years ago, basically, that we got the right to vote and that, we got civil rights. Those laws were passed, that people have been plotting to take those things away from us for decades. And you listen to some of the John Roberts, who is the head of the court right now, he started trying to do that in 1982. So he's been working on that specifically since 1982. You tell me why it's beneficial for anybody to just exclude people just because they are darker hue than you.
Right, and
It,
then
it, it
have no
is.
recourse because that's really what it is here, is the
Mhm.
states have control, so if you have people running things and you're not voting, so you have the wrong people running things, and then you try to exercise what is your right, you have no recourse if somebody, stops you. If someone stops you from voting, if someone, you know, deprives you of what's supposed to be your
Well, he's
rights.
talking about having ICE at the election polls, which we've never done before, and that's a form of intimidation. Think about how many people who will choose not to engage because these people engage whether you're doing something or not, that, will choose not to go to their polling place because of ICE agents and police officers. That's a form of intimidation.
Yeah.
Now you have no recourse over that.
Mm.
You can't sue anybody. You can't sue the federal, the federal government. Now, if you live in a state like Massachusetts, you could because those amendments were already ratified for them. Like I think 3 years ago they did it. So Rhode Island is trying to do it, but I just think that over nationally, it just really made me feel how behind the eight ball we really are, and that one of the reasons why is because we really don't know our history and we've let people water down who we were and where we came from and why we're here. So
Mm.
it was a harsh one.
So what can people do? What are the options? What people can people
So of
do to
course
try
you
to
have to,
combat it?
even though they're redistricting and everything, you do have to vote. And your local elections account for a lot of things because a lot of people who are actually going through all this stuff are your local politicians. They're the ones saying, oh, they want to take away or modify, some of the redistricting. But so you have to vote. They also talked about just organizing, getting with groups. They're doing like all these big marches right now across the South. Mississippi is having one on the 20th. The only reason I know that is because I used to live there. So I just checked the date. North Carolina is having him, and they're just trying to bombard those state houses and try to talk some sense into to those elected officials. But this law is done, so there's nothing that you can do other than start paying attention and showing up and making sure that you can try and get these people out of office.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, you gotta stay ready so you don't have to try to scramble and get ready. And
Mhm.
that's a theme that we've been seeing. Like if you want to be on the right side of history right now, we took for granted what we had because so much blood, sweat, and tears was spilled for us to be able to have what we had for the last 60 years that we just always thought it would be there. You know, and I
And
and
we
I
always thought that the people that we sit next to, take trains with, right, or whatever, and even some friends that, you might consider we never thought that those people were plotting against us either.
yeah.
So
Mm.
it's one of those things we have to be very conscientious going forward. We have to always treat our civil rights and be bulldogish about it, and not let it get watered down and not feel ever that comfortable in this country because it didn't take a long time for them to get from 1965 to 2026 for them to do
Roughly
exactly what
18
they did.
months. Roughly 18 months.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, break it down. That much. That's
So,
the key right there.
but
All
they
they
already
needed
wrote
was
it
the right
down.
people and just started knocking everything down.
But they like you said, they already wrote it down. They showed it to
Mhm.
us. I feel like
Mhm.
they leaked Project 2025 to us so that we
Mhm.
wouldn't be completely shocked when they started doing the stuff they said that they were going to do because it was already planned and it was already in motion. And and here we are.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about the 2025, that whole thing that, with the election is not only did they tell you and they showed you, you listen to somebody who lies about whether it's raining outside. You listened to him and said you trusted him over a vice president who has a, a whole time better reputation than this man. There's not.
Yeah.
Remember in 2016, they asked his children on stage, "What did you like about your dad?" And no, none of them can answer the question. They hem and hawed and came up, but they couldn't name anything concrete. But anyway, we let this person get into office on just the flimliness of nothing, and a lot of it is because people didn't show up to vote.
Or doubted the process and felt like there was no point. Because I heard a lot of that. "Well, there's no
But
point. What was the point?"
and I
This is
keep
the
telling
point.
people that if it's no point to it, then why do they stop you from voting? If it was not a big deal, they wouldn't care. They'd leave the polls open 24/7 just so that you can get in there. If that was the case, but they have been trying their best to stop and limit the votes of Black and brown people. They do not have our interest, so I know, so that was a long part of my weekend. It was just so many calls after another on, like, strategizing and what we can do, and honestly, really, what other than what I said, there's nothing.
But
We just have to be diligent going forward.
we do still have some good politicians out there. I know David Morales was over at the Juice radio station this week,
Mhm.
which I did not know is located in the mall now. Did you know
Yep.
that? I
Yeah,
was
yep,
like,
mhm.
"What?" So
I just found out this week too.
that's so exciting to me that
Mhm,
they're in the mall and like I feel like that's a good thing. And it's
mhm.
I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen a radio station located in a mall, but I think it's genius. And
I thought isn't there one I've seen it a couple of times in a mall.
a
Yeah, I
radio
didn't think that was
station,
yeah, I have. Mhm,
I've never seen it. Like
mhm,
that's it's news to me. So I happened to be there because I went to the movies.
mhm.
I saw the station in there and I was blown away. But David Morales was there this week. Again. He's on
He's
his
all
campaign
over.
trail. His campaign he's in the wrestling ring, he's at the radio station, he's in the
Yeah.
streets, he's
Mhm.
everywhere, trying to do what's right, and that's the thing is we have to make sure the people who represent us really do and I do see him outside in the streets really trying to represent the people of Providence. So that's what we have to look for. And if you can't find that person, maybe you're that person and you need to run.
That's a lot of the case too. So, I mean, you don't wanna be what's that guy, Spencer Pratt? Eh, have some education, that's all I ask. Know something. I'm like,
He's
just any old body is gonna just throw their name out on there with no
I think
credentials
he has
whatsoever.
I think he has a degree in political science or something though. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not saying he's intelligent. I'm just saying I
Mhm.
believe he has a degree in political
That's
science.
probably all why he's leaning in on that, but no. No, I mean,
No, thank you.
I wasn't a fan of The Hills, I wasn't watching that, but I knew who these people were because they were on covers all the time,
Heidi and
and
Spencer.
he did not represent himself well. He doesn't even speak well. They had a debate a couple of weeks ago, and he just did a Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton thing again, just talking all through these women. It was a, African American woman who's the mayor now and a Latina woman
Yeah.
who's running, and he was disrespectful as hell to both of them.
I saw. I definitely saw it. And their big talking point in California is the homelessness crisis, the
Mhm.
unhoused people crisis. And I mean, it is the biggest state. They have the biggest populate one of the biggest populations in the country in that region. So I can understand that, you're gonna have more unhoused people, but it has gotten out of control. I don't know what the solution is, for that. We have a bad problem here, you know?
But you know what? Maybe it's not all of California's fault, or even like the mayor. I was talking to somebody who was running for some office in California, some years ago, and one of the things he said to me that I did not think about it. He's like, if you don't have a job and you can only go a couple of places to try and make a life or whatever, and you don't have any money, you might come to California because your state is not going to offer as many things as a big state like California. And then those people find themselves homeless. It's They have a lot of people coming into the state. And I'm not talking about Mexicans. I'm talking about people from the middle who go to California because they're struggling and it's easier to struggle when it's not freezing outside.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that part of your life, and you can maybe live in a not a shoebox, but a cardboard box, and until the winter comes. He said something like that, and I'm like, when you think about it, there are a lot of Californians who are born and raised there that are homeless, but they also get a lot of people from those middle states moving there, which I didn't know.
And I see a lot just over in my area, near the
Homeless
Walmart. Like, I don't know if you realize how many people have pitched tents and live in them near Walmart.
in the
On
living with the
In the air, not in the parking lot by Walmart, but in that strip that
oh, okay.
parallels the
No, I
the
didn't
the
know.
railroad tracks. So, like,
Mm,
right on the shoulders of, like, the railroad tracks on either side, people have pitched tents, and they've built tent cities over there.
mm.
Entire tent cities, which you can actually see if you're driving on certain parts of the highway and you look at
Really?
just the right angle, yes, you'll see them. They're, like, couple of tents. I've seen them out there with like a fire pit cooking. I've seen like they're over by where Triple A is. If you go up in the back in that section, there's
Mhm.
like three or four tents that they basically just like those are their living conditions. People are
Mm,
living in those things. And maybe
yeah,
they have a car. Maybe they were able to like maintain a car, but not a roof over their head. And so
yeah.
they go to Walmart. I'm assuming they're going to Walmart or Home Depot, buying a tent, and they just pitch the tent and they live in that while they can, while the weather is warm enough.
It definitely is housing. Housing is part of the problem in low income housing, or even housing for people who have mental disorders or who have, dependency issues. There needs to be special housing. Just housing, because I think that's what every single person running for political office right now in Rhode Island is saying. You have to have a plan for housing. But I was watching this show on, Switzerland, because they had built it was like a 60 minutes type show, and what they had did is, because they had, a homeless issue there, but not nowhere near on our end, they build these, like, tiny homes that people could, either rent them out, or they could just live in them free, like, or just spend the night in them free. There'll be like, just a bed and, like a sink or something, and you just have a key and you get in there. And, their taxes went up, and they were talking about, like, well, I'm okay with my taxes going up when I have these type of programs. But first of all, they were naming like free childcare, and then these homeless things that they had put up around the city so that people would not be, out in the cold. We can never do that here.
We have it here.
What?
We have those little houses. I don't know if you remember us
That
talking
are
about this
free?
before. Yes,
Oh, that's wonderful. Because I was about to say
they're not
America
that.
would not do that for the homeless.
We have them in Rhode Island, and actually they
Where?
have some in California. So, right, do you know where Foxy Lady is?
Yeah.
Right behind Foxy Lady. So if you're coming off Chalkstone and you're going on to the highway to get on 95 from
Uh-huh.
Chalkstone, or if you go around that bend, you'll see them. They're white and they look like little sheds. They're all white, and they basically, like you said, have room
And it's one
probably.
person per shed?
I don't know exactly the details of the inside of each shed, but and then there's like a little picnic table area in the middle of it. So
Mhm.
we got that maybe 2 years ago, and it took them forever to be able to get people into them. So they were sitting there unoccupied for a while.
You know what? Now that you say, I do remember when especially when they were sitting there unoccupied, because the Republicans were like losing their crap over
And
it,
there's
saying
not
that's a waste
enough.
of money.
Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
enough to get
Yeah.
everyone, but I mean, it breaks my heart when I'm driving down the street in the winter time and I'm going in areas like Brown University and near CIC, and I see people curled up on a bus bench trying to spend the night because they don't have where to go, or they couldn't
Mhm.
get into the shelter, or whatever reason they don't want to go to the shelter or what have you. So we do have that. And California actually turned a parking lot
Now
into
I
a
remember
similar
when
thing.
California did it, and,
But it's just not enough. There's not enough, to
yeah,
accommodate.
and this was a smaller town because they were able to house all of their homeless.
Yeah. So
So,
it's
like I said, it
hard.
was nowhere near. I did not know. Well, I think I heard something similar about California, but I knew there was like issues with like budget, and I knew that there was some issues on that side.
But
But
that
I think it
whole
was mm,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that whole thing with the taxes, that a lot of that is a scare tactic. People saying your taxes are going to go up if you do XYZ.
mhm,
Sometimes it will, and it will maybe go up slightly. I don't know if it goes up very sharply. Taxes are going to go up regardless. I just want to put that out there.
mhm,
I've yet to see my taxes drop ever in my lifetime, but I saw a billboard the other day that said, you know, if you get rent control approved, that means higher property taxes. Okay, go ahead and charge me for that, because I'd rather people have rent control and have a place to live that's reasonable, because some of these landlords are overcharging. There's
mhm,
no reason $3,000 for a three-bedroom apartment when people are barely making above minimum wage.
mhm,
Who's living in these $3,000 units without assistance?
mhm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There's no reason. Why do you need $3,000 from a tenant to maintain a unit? It's not necessarily
Mhm.
necessary. I own property. I charge a reasonable rent to my tenants, and it is enough. It is enough. You know what I mean? I understand it's a business. People make a business out of it, and they're like, taking your feelings out of it. This is a business I run. But price gouging, I think, is always unacceptable. And I really hope karma comes back to people who do stuff like that, who overcharge and just mess up the market and say, well, that's just how it is. That's what market rent is. That's not market rent. That's what a bunch of greedy people decided the market should be. Because you could restabilize
Mhm.
rent. You can
Yeah.
restabilize rent, rent control it, and I know that there's some statistician out there or some number cruncher that could say this is the sweet spot where you still make money and still you make a profit and your tenants can live and afford to live. It's crazy because people
Mhm.
are paying more than 30% for housing. That
Yeah.
that's supposed to be how much you should spend on housing, 30% of your income, and it's unrealistic to charge people 2,500, $3,000 to live. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it is, especially for an apartment. I know someone that just rented a house and they're paying $2,800. And
But
I'm
that's a
like, that
house.
and it's a house, but how much longer is your savings going to be to save for your own house? 2,800. It's a house. But I'm just saying, for them, I would have hoped that they would have just went for something a little bit smaller and saved a little bit more.
True. But to rent a room in Boston right now, you really can't rent a room for under $1,200 a month.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I saw somebody on the New York Post, and they were in a closet, and they were paying 1,200 or probably 16 a closet. It was literally a closet, and they was trying to say that it was illegal to have that space. Yeah, because it had no bathroom. You had to go in the hall. It was just really crazy. But
And I
yeah, I don't
I
know what we're gonna do.
I think that what people should do is like you said, if people plan ahead, if they stay ready, they don't have to get ready. I think part of the issue that we're having is that America focuses a lot on the nuclear family, right? So it's like
Hmm.
mother, father, baby, or parent and child, and the extended family tends to be in other places. Families need to start living back together again. And this
It
kind of
definitely will
circles
help.
circles back to the whole, toxic mom conversation. Like, you should be able to have a household where, if it's the most financially feasible, parents and adult children and grandchildren are in one home where they can contribute financially and afford where they're living. Because right now, it's so hard to live
Yeah.
without extended family. I even see examples of best friends buying houses together, people who were roommates
Hmm.
buying homes together, because we normally think, okay, if you buy a house, you buy it with your spouse, and that's
Hmm.
it. When in
Hmm.
reality, the bank doesn't care
Especially
who
this
you
reality.
yeah, the bank
Mhm.
doesn't care who you buy that house with. You could buy it with 10 of your best friends. You know what I mean? And then you break it up and you find rooms for everybody. But we have to start thinking more strategically and maybe stop thinking, okay, I need to have an apartment just to me and my spouse and my children, because it might not be affordable anymore. And
Yeah,
it's actually cheaper for me to pay my mortgage than it is to rent right now,
yeah.
which is crazy
Mm,
to think about. But a lot of people are not in a position to purchase a home, so they don't have that advantage. But that's why programs like NACA, and I talk about NACA all the time. I will stand on the NACA soapbox, and people will tell me, well, I tried to do NACA, but they asked me a bunch of questions. Yeah, you think people just gonna hand you a house? No, they're gonna ask you a bunch of questions. They ain't get in your business. That's what that's what the bank does to see if they should give you a loan.
mhm.
But NACA is the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. If you ever want to look it up, and look up the man who started it, Bruce Marks. This man is off the chain. That's all I have to
Mhm.
say. He's probably about 90 years old right now. When I tell you he is militant AF,
Okay.
and this is a white man,
I
but
know,
the
I
way
know.
he's out here getting
Mhm,
people into houses
mhm.
is it's admirable, and take advantage of it, because you do not need good credit to get a house through NACA. You do not need a down payment, and you do not need money for a closing cost. But what they do is when they put you through the program, they help you get to a level where a bank is willing to even consider you. So by default, your credit improves just by
Mhm.
working with them
With
in the
them,
program.
yeah.
So that what they're saying is come as you are. We
Mm,
will repackage you in a way that you can get into a home that you can actually afford to sustain. So,
that's good. I didn't
yeah.
know that. Mm-mm. I had heard of it. Well, we have reached the hour.
Yes, we have. And then some. We gave you a little extra because, we wasn't
I
here.
know, 'cause it's yeah, 8 minutes. Give you 8 minutes. Anyway, so you have any things coming up? I'm good. I don't have anything.
Ton of stuff coming up. I'll put it all in the chat. So if you
Okay.
want to go to that Preciously Polished, let me get the name right, Preciously Polished Jewelry event. So Lisa has her own collection through them, but the owner is actually a Black woman of Preciously Polished, and she's the one that's having the event on May 30th. I'll post about that. So much stuff coming up in the summer. Too much stuff
Mhm.
for me to say here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and post that on our socials. Follow our social media. We are on Instagram at Little State Big Voices, on Facebook at Little State Big Voices. We are also available to watch all of our current and past episodes on YouTube, iHeartRadio. We are on Spotify. We are wherever podcasts are generally heard. If we're somewhere that you're looking for us and we're not there, let us know because we'll get over there. We'll find it and we'll get on there. But other than that, stay blessed. If you got relationships you need to mend with your mama, call your mama and see if you can make it
Or
work.
not.
Or not. If the best thing for you is to not call that lady, then do
Mhm.
that too. Whatever,
Be at peace
but if
with
you're not
you.
gonna call your mama, call your therapist. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right. Well, that's great. Well, until next time, we will see you next week and have a great week.
See you then. So, yeah.